Hey,
Hey.
Bonus segment.
That's right.
You
are the bonus.
Wait,
I'm
I'm
bonus.
really glad you're here, Amy.
Thanks, Pat. I received that.
I'm still thinking about it.
I thought, were you thinking about our earlier conversation? Or no, you're thinking about if you're really glad I'm here.
I'm really glad you're here.
So, okay, I have two thoughts. One of them, okay, and this made me think of a being known podcast, Mad Lib, because I was like, okay, I'm a brute. Okay, I'm not a brute. But I thought, okay, fill in the blank, because I'm something. And so it's like, if we like filling in that blank and then reading our Mad Lib, like there could be other stuff that would be, wouldn't be a one-line Mad Lib. Then like to think about what I am, what that word is, and then to tell somebody it, and then to wait. Like, oh, are they going to bail, or are they going to stay and they've bailed internally? And then I thought, until when we fill in that blank, then we can do something about it.
Right.
And that's such that seems like to me like, oh, such a simple thing. But if we go slowly, and like that just is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my fear of the shame that will quickly emerge when I acknowledge that I'm not wise, that I don't know something. My fear of that is what has me rushing quickly through the crossroads. And so the notion of sticking around long enough to say, I'm not wise, and then exhale and to discover, I can say that to people who are not going to say, you're right, and we've been waiting for a while to tell you this, that we really do think that you're an idiot, and even more so than you think you are.
Right.
But rather that someone comes with a response of, so you're aware of what you don't know, so let's learn together so that you can know more. But without that. But you're right. If I don't name it, if I don't slow down long enough to allow myself to be present, to receive from others, I'll continue to walk around, not gathering wisdom, but continuing to be anxious about the awareness that I'm not. Which doesn't play well at crucial moments with your families and at work, and it doesn't play well. No. So you said you had two thoughts. That was one.
Yes.
Is there more? Was there more you want to say about that at all?
No. Okay. I was waiting to see if Pep had a thought. You might have a thought about
go,
this.
Pep.
What, Pep?
Wait. I don't have. No. Go ahead.
Okay.
So the other thing kind of ties into last week's application, which was think about like each decade, 2 or 3 things, things you remember about your life. Okay, so I love the application. So I don't always do them like right after the episode, but so this one. So, oh my gosh. Okay, and it kind of ties into this week's application. But like one of the things I remembered, like there were happy things that were fun to recall, and then things that were a little more hard, more difficult. But so what's swimming in my head is retelling our stories and being with others in telling our stories. Because one of the memories was me learning to ride a bike. And I was 5. I remember the parking lot that was down the street from us. I don't remember whose hand was on the back of the seat. There was someone there, which is, it's interesting that I don't remember. But like, I've never thought about the joy of learning to ride a bike beyond that. But then in recalling, okay, what did I sense, image, and feel? What did was SIFT be? And the wisdom, it was like, oh my gosh, I was the happiest 5-year-old. And like, I fell and skinned my knee, and I just like somebody patched it up, and I was right back at it. And I felt such a sense of power and strength, and like I felt like I could fly. And that's not the memory that my mind goes to when I think about my childhood. Until I did this, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
So then I'm like, is that, I don't know. That just is what came to mind. I'm like, is that retelling my story in a sense?
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think that it is the human tendency. I mean, you're talking right now. Like I'm thinking to myself, I've said this before. I even mentioned it in this episode, that I have that part of me that feels unwantable. But I could go back and I could name a number of really important moments in which that categorically was not true. The very opposite was true, that people were delighted and had really wonderful things, believable things to say about me, and to invite me into their company that I don't pay attention to. And I think one of the elements of what it means to, again, we think about wisdom being a thing that is separate from us, that we acquire. And when we tell our stories, we often think that my story is a thing that is separate from me that I could tell. Like there's this, it's like here's the roll of film. It's my story. I would put it right beside me. It's separate from me. Right. When in fact, when we discover that wisdom is as much a feature of how I choose to pay attention to what is true about the world, including the many moments. I mean, how many times, Moses said, Deuteronomy 8, 4 times, to the Hebrews, remember the Lord your God. When you enter into the land of the promised land, remember. Like, you have to actively pay attention to particular things because most of life isn't what you want it to be. At the very most of life it can be kind of neutral.
At best.
But the things that I remember, the things that like I pay attention to are the things that, like, the stories I'm making up or the things that have happened that have been traumatic. Like that's what I'm paying attention to. And God is saying, in order for you to, like, wisdom includes paying attention to those other things that tell a truer story about who you are. And I have a harder time doing that. Remember, Moses, when he tells this, he's talking to a group of people. He's talking to a community. He's not like, it's not just my job on my own to figure this out by myself. It's my task to collectively do this, which is because I need you all to help me remember these things. I mean, not unlike the conversation that we had before we started recording about some things that it would be really helpful for us to have each other kind of on a speed dial to help us remember the things that are really important for us to remember when there are other things that are flooding. That act is an act that is wise and is both cultivating wisdom in its very motion.
And what was it, Curt, that you said about how it takes so much longer for us to think about the joy and to feel joy than it does? Yeah.
This notion that it takes less than 3 seconds for the experience of shame to register and be encoded. And there it is. It's very hard to forget it.
Right.
And it can take anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds for us to, with intention, pay attention to a moment of joy that we can then recall. It doesn't mean that we can't recall. Like, so Amy, it's like you can go back and you can think about it
Right.
Mhm.
You can think about you're riding your bike and that joy and so forth, but you like have to go back and do it.
Ugh.
Like
Mhm.
shame, I don't have to go back and remember it. Like it just like recycles,
Mhm.
right?
All on its
Every
own.
20 every 3 minutes, it's just like all on its own. And so there is a certain effort, but that is required for us to pay attention to this. But here's the beauty of it. There is a sense in which for us to become fully mature, for us to grow into our role of stewarding the earth,
Mhm.
of being kings and queens on the earth, which is what we are told is going to be our vocation.
Mhm.
And you're thinking, my gosh, what's God thinking? Right? He's like, I'll
Mhm.
be happy to just be like a kind of, I'll be a servant. You just make 3 hots and a cot. I'm happy to have that. But there is this sense in which if we are going to take on those roles, then we have to be fully like God, which means I have to work, not work to be loved, but it takes effort. Like it's like anything else. If you want your quarterback to run the offense, the quarterback is gonna. I think of Joe Burrow. I mean, just like the Bengals fan, and just like I like that dude. Like, I mean, there are a number of young quarterbacks that are in the league that are just off the chain good,
Phenomenal.
but
Right?
but that dude, it like yeah, throw a pass 40 yards and hit this quarter. I'm gonna hold a quarter up
Right.
and you just
And the
hit the
quarter's
quarter,
running.
and the quarter's gonna be on the
running.
move. You hit
Yeah.
it and like boom.
Well, and I'll say the other thing that he has, which is what we're talking about here, is one of his greatest talents is if he throws an interception, he, like Ted Lasso says, he becomes a goldfish, right? The goldfish has the animal that has the shortest memory in the wild
Oh,
kingdom,
uh-huh.
right? So he immediately forgets it like it didn't happen, and he goes out and just throws that quarter
The
shot that
same
we're talking
right,
about
right. Yeah.
because he doesn't allow the shame of that interception or the feelings of
Uh-huh.
I'm not enough and all that. I
Yeah.
screwed up. He just doesn't allow it to stop him from the next moment.
No.
Even it's
No.
incredible.
No.
And that's why he can hit the quarter the next time.
That's why he can
Right.
hit the quarter the next
Yeah.
time because he
Right.
yeah.
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 Mhm.
And I think but that doesn't happen because he's just talented.
No.
Right? Like this is, unfortunately, I mean, I will say to you too, I mean, we're recording this 2 days before the Super Bowl, the 2023 Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and it is, I'm sure it's going to be a great game, but if it had been up to me, it would have been Cincinnati in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Being from Ohio myself and loving what the Bengals have done with Burrow and all that kind of thing. But like the Super Bowl is going to come and go, and we can guarantee you that as far as network TV is concerned, as far as the general audience, my guess is when it's all said and done, whoever wins, there are not going to be many interviews in which they go back to either, Andy Reid or to I don't know the coach of the Eagles now, but
Billing.
whoever or the quarterback. They're not going to go to either of the quarterbacks, Hurts or Mahomes. They're not going to say, "Could you take us through two-a-days
Right.
in August? Could you take us through? Tell me
Because
what was
that's
it like to
riveting.
tell me like no. It's like watching paint dry to the one who wants to be entertained.
Yeah. Mhm.
But if you're Joe Burrow, it's like, nope, we're going to run this play 20 times.
Yep.
And in the off season, we're running this play 500 times. And I am throwing the ball. I am hitting the quarter. I'm hitting the quarter. I'm hitting the quarter. And this,
Yeah.
because he is working to grow into his fullness of being the man on the field. And it takes that kind of work for us to go back and remember the bicycle ride.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And I would just rather keep moving on with my day.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
And so we get back to Lady Wisdom in the street, and like she's not messing around. Like she's not just like casually walking through the street and saying like, "Hey, if you'd like, I have something. Oh, you might like this. Oh, you might like that."
Mm-mm.
No. She's imploring.
Mhm.
And she is God. This is Jesus in the street saying, like, y'all come. Y'all come. You with your insecure attachments. You come. You who are weary and heavy laden. Y'all come. Come. And wisdom will find you.
It's good.
All right. It's awesome.
So it appears that they're tearing down the building next to me. Could you guys hear all the construction going on? Like, what are those things called?
I don't hear it.
Jackhammer. Like the.
Oh, really?
Oh
Really?
my gosh! I'm like.
No, I don't hear it at all.
Oh well, that's good. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
All right, guys.
All right. Till next time.
Till next time.
Love you both.
You
See you
too.
soon.
Love you too.
Both.